Hello everyone. Hey, good. I hope you all can see me and listen to me as well. Okay. So we started with the discussion on the philosophical pyramid in last lecture. After that, we saw what is the main highlight of first chapter, that is Arjuna Vishad Yoga, which Adi Guru highlighted. So he starts with the Shoka and Moha to be the seed of samsara, which we discussed in detail that what do he mean by it. After that, he proceeds to the Nishtha versus Niyama, that when the Moha is higher, which leads to the Shoka. And when the Shoka is filled in a person, then there comes a point that the person is frustrated and then he says, enough. Now I want to get over it. I want to just leave everything and go away. This is known as Nishtha. So, the Nishtha which arises in the person to just drop everything and go for discovery of the self, go into the silence. This Nishtha arises when the Shoka reaches to a level which clears the cutoff. There is a quantum leap that after the peak of the depression, after the peak of that great shoka, the setback which one gets in the life. So Anishtha arises that the person wants to explore that who is he. He wants to himself. He wants to explore himself. But the Nishtha alone, to take the sannyasa, to leave everything, go into seclusion, the Nishtha alone is not sufficient. That's what he has highlighted, that with just your resolution that you want to get the experience of the self, you cannot get it. So the Arjun resolved that I will take sannyas, I am just going here. When he saw his own guru, his own teachers, his own brothers in front of him, he got a setback that how will I be able to kill them? This is immoral, this is inhuman, and all these philosophical things he talked about. And he says that I will not do this violent act and I am just going, I am taking sannyas right now itself. The Krishna stopped him because he was having the Nishtha, but this Nishtha alone was not the right path to enlightenment. That's what Acharya Shankar has highlighted, that enlightenment can only be attained with the niyama which Guru has given. So each Guru in every century when he has came on this earth, the Guru has its own path, and his path has its own set of rules, the niyamas. And anyone can only attain enlightenment by following the path and the niyamas which the Guru has given, and not by the resolution of Nishtha alone. Okay, so that's what Acharya Shankar has highlighted. Then the Dvandvas he has talked that what Dvandvas the Arjun had. He has given the answer to all the doubts so that the generations who are coming in time ahead, they shall not get the same doubts again. That this is a violent, inhuman act. Why God is telling Arjun to create such violence? Because that's what we have discussed, the types of violence, the sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic violence, the violence which is required for the protection of self and protection of others, the violence which is to, to be done for protection, not for harming someone, not for gaining something from others, not for exploiting someone, or not for just taking fun from others' pain. The violence which is done just for the protection, that violence is not counted into the that violence is not counted as an immoral thing or a path. The violence which is done to terrorize someone, the violence which is done to just take revenge from someone, that this violence is wrong, which is stated by Vedas. But when the life is under danger and one has to protect the life of others as well as self, only at that time the violence is justified. So the same thing Acharya has highlighted, that Arjun was at the stake of protection of Dharma. Arjun was the symbol of Dharma, and the violence here is not counted as Papa according to Shastras. So, whenever this thing is present, we have to take an action. That action is not coming under the category of. Now, the second chapter's first part, second chapter, that is Gyan Yoga. So, the Arjun was giving a lot of arguments that, oh, this and that, how will I be able to kill them, and I cannot do, and he was just trying to justify himself at any cost. So justification we only give when we lose the inner confidence. Until unless we have the connection with the inner self, until unless we are connected, we are firm, we are whole, we do not give any justification. Even if the person is misunderstanding us, we do not need to give we do not feel to give justification. This is because we are justifying not other one, we are justifying ourselves. When we are ourselves not connected to ourselves, then we try to justify others and we seek some acceptance from the others that, okay, my argument, if he agrees, then it will be considered okay, it is right. When we don't feel ourselves to be right, we try to justify ourselves to others. The one who knows that he is right, he will never justify to him. So, that whenever we are trying to justify ourselves, we create more conditions. Okay, oh, I am into this trap, and now this cannot happen. This will not take place, and this thing is required, but I will not be able to do this. All such kind of conditions that we create. So, what is happening here? You are not that limited entity who is actually entering into the trap. But this is how the samsara traps you. You are not limited, but the life makes you feel that you are limited. And this is what gives you a deep pain from inner consciousness. You are not limited. You are not just the thing which is present in front of you. You are not just that which you are looking, which you are undergoing, which you are feeling, which you are suffering, whatever things from which you are undergoing, whether they are pleasant or unpleasant, you are not just that. You are not limited to it. But the world has its nature just to make you feel that you are limited. And because you feel limits, you feel a pain from inside, and then you try to justify your limits that, oh, I cannot cross this, oh, I cannot do this. Have you seen justifying persons whenever like they are hurt, or whenever you just try to push them to the positive things, they just try to justify. They just try to make some or the other uh, just some or the other argument to just avoid all those things which will actually lead to a right. So this is what we call trap of samsara. So astrologically also, when the time is not right, the person is not following what is to be followed by him. What is actually he will not follow, he will not do the sadhana, he will not do the spiritual practices. The time is wrong because that's what the time has to give the result, that he has to suffer. Because if he'll do the sadhana, if he'll just try to connect with the self, then his sufferings will go away. Once his inner self is cleared, then the outer world will definitely stop giving the problems. But this whole process will stop because the person is trapped into samsara. He is into a trap. So he should do it, but he will not be able to. And he will. be just justifying it. So Arjun was giving a lot of conditions. Oh, they are my own blood. Oh, Shastra say violence is wrong. All the arguments just to feel that he is right. And he was trying to convince Krishna to just see the foolishness, what he was doing. So now Lord Krishna just shuts him down that, oh, stop it, enough. I have heard enough things. And then he starts speaking, Ashocha Ananga Shochastam Pragya Vadancha Bhashya, say that you are actually talking like all the persons filled with the wisdom. You are talking like wise men, but you are yourself doing a lot of foolish things. You think that by killing them, you are actually killing them. This is the first sign of foolishness which you are showing. Even if you kill them, they won't be killed. Even if you slash them, they won't be slashed. It's just the body which is getting slashed. It's not the soul which will get slashed. Bhishma is not just the soul. Bhishma is not just a body which will be killed by you. He is much more than that. So he tried to cross the limits. Arjun tried to limit himself, and Krishna tried to break his limits. This thing is known as Sankhya. So, Sankhya means to know that you are not just what is appearing in front of you. You are not just the role which you are playing. You are not just the uh, work which you are doing. You are not just the roles which you are playing in day to day life. You are much more than that. And this thing Lord Krishna highlighted to Arjun that the Bhishma is not just the body. Arjun is not. You are not just the body. Even if the body is no more, the soul will not be died. It will continue its journey. And listening to this knowledge, some state of samadhi arises in us. When this thing is happening, that by listening to the knowledge of self, you feel some change, you feel that you are being free, you feel some sort of freedom, you feel that you are establishing into something. This is known as the knowledge of Sankhya, and this is known as Sankhya Nishtha. So, Lord Krishna first told the knowledge of Sankhya to just make him into a vast state from a limited entity. And when he entered into the vastness, then he made him to the state of yoga. And he said that even if you lose this war, you will just uh, don't worry about the failure, Arjun. Just leave everything to me. You just focus on your action. Karmanye vadika raste ma phaleshu kadachan. हतो व प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गान् जित्वा व भोक्ष्यसे महिं तस्मात् उत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृत निश्चय. That even if you are killed in this war, you will just attain the enlightenment. If you will win this war, you will enjoy all sort of things which are available on this earth by either getting sacrificed in this war or sacrificing others and winning over them. In both the conditions, you are not at any loss, Arjun. Both of things, both the things are actually a favor. Both the things are actually a victory for you. Okay, you are victorious in either condition. Just go and fight. So this nishtha, which makes you into action, that while doing the action, you are establishing yourself. You are not letting your mind to divert from the action which you are doing. Right now, if you are a student, you are studying, you are not letting your mind divert. It will divert, it's okay, but you are trying to maintain your awareness to what you are learning. If you are cooking food, you are not letting your mind to just let you somewhere else. You are just holding it to the work which you are doing. That mindfulness which you have, this is known as the Yoga Nishtha. So, Lord Krishna gave Arjun both the Sankhya Nishtha and Yoga Nishtha. And that's what confused Arjun that what shall I follow? What shall we follow? So, first he got into the vastness of Sankhya. You are not just this limited entity, you are something more than that. And then suddenly he says that just take your go, fight, even if you are killed in this war, you will attain the Swarga, you will attain all sort of enjoyments in the heavens. Even if you and if you win the war, definitely you will be the victorious king which will rule the entire world. So why you are having any kind of fear? Just go and fight. This is the Yoga Nishtha. And now Arjun got confused that on one hand you told me to leave everything and just reside in self. You are not just the role which you are doing. You are not just the things. Just get dissolved in yourself. On the other hand, now you are suddenly telling me to take your bow and fight. What shall be done? So Acharya Shankar is given a very good example here that if a person who is having pitta dosha is the dosha in which the agni rises in the body, and the heat which is more, it creates the gastrointestinal problems, the ulcers which takes place in stomach, and because of the lot of fire. Okay, so usually the practitioners prescribe two things: to have something sweet and to have something which cools down the system. Okay. So Acharya Shankar gave the example that if a patient is coming to a doctor and he is diagnosing him with the pitta dosha, he'll tell him to eat which is sweet, which is cool. And if the patient argues, no, tell me one thing, either I should take the sweet thing or the thing which cools down the system. What will the doctor do? He has to take both. He has to consume both, and that's what will make him free out of the pitta. In the similar manner, to get out of the fear of jvara, to get out of the fever of uh, this losing and winning, to get out of the feverishness which disturbs the consciousness, you have to hold on to both the things, Sankhya and Yoga. If you only hold on to Sankhya, it will not take you to the enlightenment easily. And if you only try to hold on to the yoga, it will also not be easy for you to hold on to. You have to get both of these things together and start work. So when you are really disturbed to the extent when you cannot do anything, when you don't feel like doing anything, like Arjun dropped his bow, Arjun just dropped everything, now I cannot fight. When he just stopped that it's done now, I'm going. Then this feeling arises in you. At that time, the Sankhya is the knowledge which you should follow, you should seek that. Okay. So just remember that you are not just the one, you are not just the role which you are doing. You are not just this limited identity. This Sankhya knowledge, remembering that you are not just this limited entity, will make you suddenly free from all sort of bandhanas which are binding you. And once you are free, now you just focus on the action which you have to. Okay. Now you just follow that what is the right thing to do and just keep doing that. Do not let your mind to get diverted. Don't get into the doubts and just keep following the thing which you have decided. So in this way you have to follow it. Because while following the yoga, it gives rise to a condition where you want to drop everything. At that time, the yoga fails. So the Sankhya should be taken over at that time. And if you just dissolve in yourself that I'm not just that, then like in the outer world, how will you move? Okay. You cannot sit. So that's why he said that if Sankhya Nishtha is very strong, then the person is eligible for taking sannyasa. So all sannyasis have this Sankhya Nishtha very strong that I'm not just this, I'm not just. So because they already have the experience of the self, so it is very easy for them to take sannyasa. But for all those people who do not have the Sankhya Nishtha, okay, just a second, there is some network glitch, it is getting fixed. So for all those